So the question I'm asked every day is, why is the price of steel so high? Is it going to go down? Why is it so hard to find steel? And, I thought it'd be important to make a video where I can accurately give you an answer as to how much steel is going to cost between June of 2021 and the end of the year, and then give you what I would consider to be more of an educated guess or opinion on where we expect steel to go into 2022. I'm Paul Rubio, and welcome to the Metal Roofing Learning Channel.
This is the Metal Roofing Learning Channel, brought to you by Western States Metal Roofing, where you can find a variety of colors and finishes, all while saving by buying factory direct.
Hi, today we have Mark Fields here with us. Mark, can you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, I'm Mark Fields with Western States Metal Roofing, purchasing manager here.
How long have you been purchasing steel, Mark?
I think this will be about my 24th year. I started off in purchasing, did a little bit of sales, but mostly about 24 years.
And this current steel crisis, prices increasing, et cetera, have you ever seen anything like this in your career?
No, I've never seen it, and I've talked to people that have been in the industry a lot longer than me, and they've never seen it.
I've been doing this for 25 years, and the only thing close that I can think of is 2008, but that wasn't anything compared to what we're up against right now.
Right, yeah, definitely.
The goal of this conversation today, Mark, is not so much why the steel shortage and extremely high prices are happening, but more so what we can expect through October of this year, then from November and December up until the end of the year, and finally, more of an educated guess on what you expect to happen into early 2022. And then I'd like to get some insight from you on the actual steel shortage side of things, please.
Okay.
What I'd like to segue into now is what we can expect in the next 4 months, Mark. Let's say through October. It's June 2021, so through October of 2021, what can we expect, and then why can you confidently predict what you're going to talk about right now?
Okay. Well, I've already seen pricing into November from some of the vendors, and that pricing is continued to go up. So we know that the pricing is going to go through at least through November, based on just in the last, so let's say 9 months, and the way that price has been trending. I think it's going to keep going at least until the end of the year, at least till through 21 for sure.
Okay. So today's price, if I was to buy steel today in June, what do you expect it to go up about 10% each month until we get to October? Is it fair to say October's price of steel is going to be 30 to 50% higher than June's price of steel? Is that accurate or not accurate?
The way it's been going, say over the last 3-4 months, as fast as it's been rising, it has been about 10% in order to keep up with the pricing, playing that out. It's just hard to imagine going up another 50%, but that's the way it's trending. That's the way the increases have been going.
Okay, once we get into 2022, can you accurately predict what's going to happen, or is it more of an educated guess or an opinion?
I'd say it's more of an educated guess. We meet with other buyers on Zoom meetings and stuff like that, trying to look at the industry and see where it's going. And the consensus seems to be that it's going to go through 21 into 22. But once we get into 22, it's speculation. How long is that going to last? A lot of people think it's going to maybe taper off at towards the end of the first quarter, but it's just a best guess right now. And you got to take into all the different effects, what's affecting the supply right now, the supply chain, and they're adding capacity across the country, but some of that's not going to really impact until probably the summer of 22. So it's just an educated guess, really, just looking at all the numbers.
is it likely that the bottom's going to fall out immediately, or if it does go down, is it likely to be a more gradual decrease as we get into 2022?
I'd say it'd be a gradual relief on the pricing, but I said, oh yeah, because most of the people, everyone that I talk to, I try to talk to the mills. I'm trying to get the information I can all the time, and that's the consensus right now, is that it's just going to be a gradual drop off of the price. They're not seeing, a panic sell off, because everybody's paying. You're buying your steel 3 to 6 months in advance, and everybody's paying that price. So that is the cost of the steel.
Are there any other factors that are contributing to this? Have you had any other increases in the last couple of months that beyond the cost of steel going up are increasing the price of metal roofing and other similar products?
Yeah, the paint pricing has gone up 6%. That's added to the cost, and that was actually the second price increase. Probably the first one was about just only 3 months ago, so that was another 5% increase on paint. So that's now 11% just in paint, and they attribute that to the shortage of raw materials that they need for the pigments for the paint, and that was taken across the board. I mean, all the paint companies that we use have announced the increases. So that's one. The other one is the freight. Your cost of freight of getting your material delivered. The freight costs have gone up quite a bit, as well as it's getting harder to find trucks. So it's kind of pinched the supply a little bit. Stuff I used to be able to get in 3 days is now taking me 2 weeks to get a truck under it and get it delivered.
What about I've heard that wood costs have gone up 300%. Does the packaging cost affect the price of the steel?
I'm sure it would have to. I mean, they use lumber in in the industry just for using it as dunnage to stack stuff on, but it definitely impacts a manufacturer's cost that's got to do the packaging and be able to get the material shipped safely to a customer where it's not damaged. It takes a lot of lumber, so that's a huge expense, and to go up 400%, that's incredible.
When you look at your future cost of steel, when you look at offshore, I'm guessing that's based upon prices you get 4 to 5 months in advance. Is that correct, Mark?
That's correct, yeah.
So if I got a price today, when is that? If I got a price in June of 2021, when is that landed price valid for?
That price would be for material that is expected to deliver in November.
November of 2021. Okay, now what about domestically? Domestically, that goes that's based upon the CRU. Is that correct, Mark?
Yeah, it's tied to the CRU. CRU is an index, industry index that most people use. With all the other expenses, CRU is probably the most popular way that the mills will use to price their steel.
Now, the CRU stands for Commodity Research Unit, and really the quick explanation of this, it's kind of a stock market for steel that helps compare past performance and current pricing to calculate a steel price, a current steel price. Is that fairly accurate?
Right, and a lot of people that will buy steel on contract buy, their pricing, if they do a yearly contract, their pricing is tied to that CRU.
And over the past 6 months, has the CRU gone up, gone down, or stayed flat?
It's gone way up. I mean, I'm looking at my reports here on the CRU. It's more than doubled. I mean, the actual CRU is more than doubled. It's the dollar amount. It's crazy. I've never seen anything like it. It makes it tough to deal with, but it's everybody. It's not just us. It's everybody's got the same issue.
We've kind of talked about where we expect the pricing to go, Mark. Now, the other thing that's just as critical as the cost of the steel is the lack of steel that's available. I think probably the easiest way to explain this is, why don't you explain the process of purchasing steel and then the way the mills work with allocations and who they service?
Typically, that the allocation is going to go from the mill to the contract. All the contract buyers will be given first priority. Then once the capacity that's available then will be passed on to the people that are doing spot buys on a continual basis that have a good working relationship with the mills. Right now, I talked to a mill yesterday, and they have not offered a spot buy in 18 months. It's some mills that have that larger capacity or that we have a relationship with will give us a spot buy, but that particular mill has not offered any spot buys. We've had mills that we deal with all the time where the month comes and they just say, hey, we don't have anything left to offer you. And then the next month we'll get something. Then somebody that's not buying very much, they're just shut off. They're not getting anything. There's people out there that have not been able to buy steel for quite some time, unless they go through a service center that's buying contract, which for them is increasing their cost also because now they're having to pay that middleman price.
Okay. So with us, for example, sometimes we're just not able to order steel. The times that we are ordering steel, what's our allocation? Are we able to get 80% of what we used to be able to get, or how much steel are we normally able to buy when we're even fortunate enough to get some?
Yeah, let's say, we have such a diverse product line that it kind of depends on which product line we're looking at. But as far as the allocation that we're getting now is probably about, say, 60 to 70% of what we would typically buy. I'd say that's pretty much across the board, but and there's some of the stuff, the more niche stuff that we do, it's a little bit harder, but they're giving us allocation. We're getting enough for now, we're getting enough to keep the inventory to where we can support the customers.
Do you expect that as the year progresses, that not only us here at Western States Metal Roofing, but other metal roofing manufacturers, do you expect that that their inventory levels are going to get better or worse as the year progresses?
I would say for 2021, I personally believe it's going to get worse. I think there's going to be more of a shortage coming up in the end of the summer through the beginning of fall. I think there's going to be a lot of automotive is going to take off, and that steel's got to go to the automotive. That's usually a priority for most of the mills. So that's going to take away some of the available inventory from the rest of us. So I think there's going to be a shortage for a few months anyway. I think it's going to get a little worse before it gets better.
So I know we're selling more than we've ever sold, and I think that's pretty accurate across the board for people in the metal roofing industry. So if we're selling more than we've ever sold before, and we're able to buy 60% of what we used to purchase, it's just a matter of time before existing inventories are depleted and everybody's in the same boat with less and less steel, right?
Right. Yeah. That's if the demand continues the way it is right now, which is what most people are forecasting, especially in the construction industry throughout the end of 21. And if it continues at the pace it is now, it's definitely going to be an issue as far as the inventory. Like I said, we were fortunate enough to have a pretty good inventory, but yeah, if we can't get our allocations up, eventually it's just gonna deplete it. So it's definitely across the board.
What do you expect to be a bigger issue? Is this going to be, as we get further in the year, so it's going to be less of a function of price and more of a function of availability? Is that accurate?
Oh yeah, that's one thing that I see quite often when reading is that they say it's not a matter of the price. We want the coil, so it's not a matter of how much does it cost. It's how much can I get, which is very unusual, but that seems to be the way it is going right now.
So how can a customer protect themselves? If you know you have a job at the end of the year, is there anything that you can do to help soften both the availability and the price ramifications that are going to happen in the future?
That if the sooner we know, the sooner we can get the material. So if a customer were to come and say, hey, I got this large job, 20, 50, however big the job is, I got this job but I'm not going to need it till say August. Is there anything I can do? And we can go ahead and get the material. We can go ahead and get it on order. We can get it in the works. We just ask the customer to give us a order and a deposit to hold that order, and then we'll have it. We'll that way he knows he's got the material, but he's got it at the price, whatever the price is today. That's what his price is going to be.
How large is the deposit typically? And based upon today's price, is there really any downside in price-wise into the future? Are they going to be better off with today's price versus October's price?
Definitely with today's price, I mean, already the mill price, which or the offshore price for November has already gone way up. So if we were to buy at today's price, he would definitely have a much better price.
So there's really no downside in pre-purchasing steel now if you know that you have a job that's sometime in 2021.
Right. I would say if you're a contractor and you're pricing a job and you give the customer a quote, then you should tie that. You should go ahead and get that order in right away, because your profit that you've put into your job would be gone by the time. If you wait until the last minute to order the material, that profit will be gone based on the percentage of increases we've been seeing. So if you go ahead and lock the material in, then you're going to get that material at the cost that you quoted the customer.
What deposit is required to normally lock in the steel?
Normally it's about 50% of the cost of the order.
It's also probably a good idea for contractors to have price escalators in their contracts also, correct?
Right. Yeah, definitely.
I hope you found this video helpful. What we're going to do here at Western States Metal Roofing is we're going to keep you updated on what's happening in the future with both the shortage and the pricing. Once a month within our weekly email roundup, we're going to have a very brief update on where we're at with pricing. And then once a quarter, we're going to come out with another video like this. The reason it's important quarterly is I can give you an accurate prediction of where steel is going to cost in the next 3 to 4 months, whereas anything beyond that is really just an educated guess or opinion. So if you'd like to see our next video on steel pricing, please subscribe to our channel. And if you'd like to be part of our weekly email roundup, please click the link below in the description. Thank you very much.